Letters of John Nelson Darby, Volume 1, Letter 183F, of 1031. p. 312, G. Biava, to the same. From the French. Beloved brother, I am not sorry that the brethren have seen that they were wrong in their way of acting. This often gives the heart more confidence in acting, and in serving the Lord. I hope that the assembly will now walk in peace, and again look for the Lord's blessing. The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace. It is not my thought at present to interfere, save by prayer, with the course of the assembly at. There are times when we should leave it to the Lord to act. I trust grace will lead the sisters also to recognize that they were wrong. If the assembly walks in piety, that piety which flows from true communion, I think that is the chief thing just now. It gives, with humility, a firm judgment, and waits on the Lord, jealous for his glory, and seeking to do his will, does not say, you are wrong and I am right, where the you and I play the great part, but, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? Moreover, until one is in this state of soul, it is impossible to walk rightly. To restore the soul, so that these souls, so dear to the Lord, may glorify him, is our chief business. Not that the state of the assembly does not interest me, for I am deeply interested in its condition. If I had stayed in France longer, I should have been glad to spend some time at. It was there, too, principally that the work in the South began, when, settled there, and there were only 4 women, formerly dissenters. But I do not see that a direct action just now where others are at work would be of any use whatever, at least in point of blessing. I rather wait for the action of God himself. There are Christians on both sides, and I hope that grace will triumph in their hearts. With regard to Italy, this is my position in this respect. When the work began at Florence, and certain persons were mixed up with it, and then some Italians, in consequence of the malicious talk of the Genevans, were frightened at the name of Plymouth Brethren, I felt that I could not act with them, and to raise questions for those inexperienced souls would have been cruelty. I could only commit the matter to God, but with patience the time for acting and witnessing for God comes, if we wait on him. One grows weary of evil, and of what is of man, when there is the desire for Christ. I believe, though this may be a small thing, that time is dawning in Italy, but it is still, not to say always, needful to wait on God. One cannot but respond to the wants of faith. It is not like a first preaching of the gospel, but I believe wants are beginning to make themselves known, and I am sure that our good and faithful Master, and the God of grace will meet those wants. I have confidence as to this. Our brother is going there for his health. I hope he may be of use, though he goes there to recruit, God knows. However this may be, I believe God himself will work. I believe the neutral party is declining. In 1 or 2 places, worldly Christians take the place of something of this kind, and it flourishes, but along with much worldliness, still, in general we see that it breaks down, that they have not the power of God. Moreover, where it flourishes outwardly, souls in need of Christ leave them, and come amongst brethren. They try to sustain themselves by the activity of the revival, but it has no foundation. Conversions are numerous on all sides, and there is excitement, and even some of our brethren who are active in it are deceived in their hopes by counting up the conversions too hastily. This does harm in a measure, but all the same there is much of God in it. The work is somewhat superficial, but true conversions are very numerous. This needs care, for the meetings are increasing enormously, and these inexperienced souls must be established. This is my special work just now, and though I sometimes sigh a little to be preaching the gospel, with this, however, I am engaged at the same time, I am very happy in the work. Besides, in general the brethren are going on well, and there is life, and a brighter waiting for the Lord. If it were a question only of increase of numbers, we should be in a most flourishing condition, but I believe, through the goodness of God, there is much more than that. This engrosses the brethren. There is weakness, no doubt, but they experience the goodness of God. In Ireland there is much blessing. Be of good cheer, dear brother, we must work for a little while, and with a strength which is not our own, but which is enough for everything, and we work under the eye, and encouraged by the goodness of him whose love never fails us. Count upon him, abide in him, feed on him, then work patiently on, according to the strength he gives you, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power. Remember me too, and to all the assembly warmly. May God grant them to feed on the Lord continually, and to covet piety and communion with him. I am away from home, and I see that I have not your last letter with me. If I find there is anything important in it, I will write from London. Your very affectionate brother. Rochdale, June 28, 1861. 51183 F.